Don't leave me. I love you. Her lover dropped his head on her shoulder as he wept. Her eyes closed, her body relaxed, and the camera lingered lovingly on her face, as exquisite in death as in life. It's not real. It's pretend. Mama is alive. But down below, in the darkness, Xenia sobbed as if her heart would break. Part 1. Chapter 1. Open your eyes. I love that voice, thought Buttercup. The car had stopped. The engine was off at last, and in the sudden lucid quiet, Charles's tone seemed particularly intense. It filled her mind even more now she had her eyes shut. That low, husky voice, with a hoarseness that seemed to have been built into it as part of its natural state. It was one of the first things that attracted her to Charles, a sound like velvet sandpaper, as he said, "Buttercup Wilcox. That's the most marvellous name I've ever heard." They'd clearly arrived somewhere, but Buttercup asked anyway, "Are we here?" "Of course. Open them." Charles had insisted she keep her eyes shut from the time they left the main road. He wanted the first glimpse to be the best, so she got the full impact. She'd laughed and protested, but obeyed. Life with Charles was full of surprises, and they were always delightful and exciting. Buttercup opened her eyes, blinking in the unaccustomed daylight, and gasped, "Oh, Charles, it's beautiful." She was looking at an exquisite house of golden stone that even on a dank January day looked warm against the cold grey sky. Its narrow diamond-paned windows glittered in what little sunshine filtered through the clouds. Its chimneys soared upwards, grand and graceful at the same time. "Just beautiful," she breathed. "It is, isn't it?" Charles smiled with pleasure at her obvious admiration. "I'm so glad you like it. But poor old Charcombe wasn't always so pretty. You should have seen it when we bought it." He flung his car door open and jumped out. "Come on. I want to show you inside." He was around at her side in an instant, pulling open her door and offering her a hand to help her out of the low-slung sports car. "First impressions?" "It's wonderful." He grinned at her. "Good. You're going to love it. I just know it." Charles led the way to the huge wooden-panelled door, with a great brass doorknob in the centre, a large verdigris lantern in the shape of an orb hanging above it from the porch roof. He opened it, stepping aside to let her go in first. She hardly knew what to say as she went into a vast square hall, hung with oil paintings, its ceiling a riot of colour, with painted frescoes of gods, goddesses, and fat putti frolicking in the clouds. Marble busts on plinths stood along the walls, and in the centre of the room a large round table held a giant globe vase with white hydrangea spilling out in frilly abundance, a fragment of summer in the depth of winter. When Charles had talked about his place in Dorset, she'd envisaged a cottage, a holiday getaway, perhaps a little rough around the edges, a bit make-do. I should have known better. Everything with Charles was bigger and bolder than normal life, grander, richer. The London flat he mentioned so casually had turned out to be a penthouse apartment in Westminster, at the top of a large house owned by him. Very different from her third-floor attic conversion in Fulham. Perhaps that was why he was taking her into his rarefied existence slowly, step by step, as if he didn't want to frighten her off. He'd pretended at first he was a successful businessman, nothing out of the ordinary. It was only now, 7 months after their courtship had begun, that she was learning how extraordinary he really was. She was glad it was that way round, that she'd fallen for him